definitely.
Let's bring it up one by one as to what worked for the Congress.
The BJP has 38% vote share, so they are up by 2% from the last time around. Congress has moved up at least about 6 to 7% in vote share.
Out of the 28 sitting MLAs who were dropped, the BJP won only 13.
The Congress kept this election extremely local. There were local leaders focusing on local issues. Bajrang Bali gambit that we have been saying, this led to the consolidation of the Muslim votes, the triangular contest becoming a bipolar contest.
Welcome everyone, thanks for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. It's not been even a week and Siddaramaiah government in Karnataka has already landed in a soup. Silicon Valley of India, Bengaluru was inundated after heavy rains. A 22-year-old techie from Andhra Pradesh lost her life after she got stuck in a flooded underpass along with her family. The Chief Minister has assured of strict action and a case has been registered against the BBMP. Karnataka government has also announced a compensation of 5 lakh rupees to Bhanurekha's kin. But what this incident has done is served a reminder of how difficult it is to correct the infrastructure woes of the city. Amidst all of this, a school teacher from Chitradurga was suspended after he criticized Congress's 5 guarantees and the debt that they will rake up. Now, is this how the Congress government and the party will deal with criticism is a question that arises. A party that talks of dissent all the time, curtailing a free-thinking citizen's speech. How does this look? But here's the kicker. After coming to power on the back of those 5 guarantees promised to the electorate in no uncertain terms, Minister Priyank Kharge has now explained all the terms and conditions that apply on them so that it doesn't burden the exchequer. Now the government remembers how these guarantees can't be given to all and will become a burden otherwise. Given that this is the first few days of the new Congress government in power, we ask tonight, will the Congress be really able to handle the infrastructure woes of Bengaluru especially? Can the Siddaramaiah government address pothole and waterlogging menace in the state? And is the shine of their guarantees already rubbing off? We'll take those questions to our guests in just a bit. Look at the visuals from the spot where the 22-year-old girl lost her life. Now, she was travelling to Cubbon Park along with her family when the car got stuck under this flooded KR Circle underpass. The commuters above the underpass noticed this and tried to help them. Few of them even tied saris and dupattas together and put them down, while others called the fire engine services as well. Later, the fire engine service workers arrived at the spot. They rescued 5 of the people in the car. A few minutes later, even Bhanurekha was rescued, but it seemed like it was already too late by then. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, in another ominous sign, a Karnataka school teacher has been suspended just because he criticized Phoebe Portal of politics in the state. The teacher has also criticized Chief Minister Siddaramaiah in this Facebook post. The post mentioned loans incurred by former Karnataka Chief Ministers and how the state deficit rose to 2.42 lakh crores last time Siddaramaiah was Chief Minister. Now the BJP has hit out at the Congress asking if the truth has pinched them. The Congress only responded by saying that the teacher might have violated a rule. Now, after suspending Shantamurthy MG for violating, quote, the Karnataka Civil Services Conduct Rules 1966, the School Education Department in Karnataka has also ordered an inquiry into the matter. Speaking of those guarantees, it seems like the other shoe has finally dropped. For many of those guarantees promised by the Congress party, the government has now added riders. Now, some of them had riders to begin with, but some have now come to light. For example, the Congress promised 200 units of free power to all houses per month. But the catch is you will only get this benefit if your total consumption is below 200 units to begin with, not even 1 unit above that. Congress promised free travel for women in government buses. It's becoming clearer now that this will be applicable in only select buses and only for daily commutes, and not include semi-deluxe or luxury buses. Congress had also promised 10 kilograms of rice to every person in a BPL family per month. Now ministers say it will be applicable per family and not each member. On top of that, The free 5 kilograms rice, which are under the central scheme currently, are also included in this 10 kilograms of rice that are to be given free. So let's take forward this big issue with our guest joining us in just a bit. The top focus though is, can the new Congress government handle infrastructure woes, or is this going to be apathy continued, especially for Bengaluru?
Sad incident that 22-year-old girl lost her life. So this is that car in which this whole incident took place. After that, this vehicle that got stuck in the waterlogged underpass.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅಥವಾ ವಿಳಂಬ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿಳಂಬ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿಸೋಣ. ದಟ್ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅದೊಂದು ಭಾಗ. ಈಗ ಎರಡನೇ ಭಾಗ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಪಾಪ ಅವರು ಮಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡು ನೀರಿಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡು ಕಾರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ.
Timely action by the BBMP could have saved the life. There is some lapses that has to be really looked into.
ನಿನ್ನೆ ಆಗಿರುವ ಘಟನೆ ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಬಹಳ ಅಹಿತಕರವಾಗಿ ಘಟನೆ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಹಾಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ KR ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಪಾಸ್.
Now, when Bhanurekha's car was stuck in that underpass, News 18's Manjunath was actually on the spot reporting live as well. He even spoke to her family members. Before we speak to Manjunath on what actually transpired in this horrific accident, take a look at this report.
ಶ್ರುತಿ, ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಒಬ್ರು ಅಜ್ಜಿಯನ್ನ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇಬ್ರು ಪೊಲೀಸರನ್ನ ಅಡ್ಡ ಹಾಕಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಬಂದು ಒಳಗಡೆಗೆ ಜಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಲ್ಯಾಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಅಜ್ಜಿಯನ್ನ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಮಹಿಳೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಒಂದು ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಲ್ಯಾಡರ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಒಂದು ಏಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಕತ್ತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಒಂದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ ಇದೆ. ಕಾರ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆಯೋ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಬ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ BBMP ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ತೆರಳುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಮಳೆಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ಸು. ಅವರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಅಡ್ಡ ಹಾಕಿದ್ವಿ. ಅವ್ರ 3 ಜನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದು ಒಂದು ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ఎక్కడికి వస్తుంటారు మీరు? ఎక్కడికా కబన్పర్ చూసాక వచ్చిండ్రా? ఏ ఊరు మీది? ఏ ఊరు ఆంధ్రాలో? ఏ ఊరు? ವಾಹನ ವಸ್ತುಂದಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಳೆ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರಿ? ಎಂಟು ಜನ ಉಂಟ್ರಿ ಲೋಪಲ ಕಾರ್ ಲೋಪಲ? 6 ఎవరు?
I want to go across to my colleague Manjunath, who was actually an eyewitness to this entire tragedy. And, you know, it adds almost to the tragedy, Manjunath, that this family is not even from Bengaluru, not even from Karnataka. They're actually visitors from Andhra Pradesh, and, you know, they've lost a family member, a young girl's life like this. Can you describe to our viewers, Manjunath, exactly what happened? I believe you were also one of those people who alerted the police and the fire services. So how much time did all of this take once you realized the car was stuck?
Definitely, Shivani, I'll explain each and everything yesterday what happened exactly. Within span of 20 minutes, there a lot of tragedy has happened in Bengaluru. That too, right now I am in the spot where yesterday the flooded was happened, and one lady has been dead over here. 22 years of lady. She was working in Infosys. Right now in the same location I am there, because yesterday exactly at 3:55 I got a call from input saying that assignment is saying that cover the rain visuals. But I was near to just far away from here, from this location. There is a far away, just 2 kilometers away, Vidhan Sauda. From there I came to here. This spot I can show you the spot where vehicles has been moving. There I stopped my car on the road and I came here. with the umbrella, and I was standing outside, and my VJ Sunil and the driver was taking the visuals of the rain on the road and all. It was heavy flooded. Later I was getting a screaming loud voice saying that save us, like 3 to 4 women were screaming a lot, and I was searching where the voice was coming. Then this was the underpass where I came to a corner of underpass where a two-wheeler guy was standing on the underpass. Right now we can see there. I stand there and just bend down and look it out. No one was able to see. Then I rushed from there to here. Exactly it was 4 o'clock 5 minutes it was here. I was standing here and I came to this spot, exactly in this spot. Then later I saw the visuals through my eyes, like saying that they were all 6 women were showing the hands, saying that save us. But the cab driver Harish was on the car. He was also calling us, saying that save us sir, because I was in the umbrella. Then I rushed to the half of the bridge, but the flooding was very more, and it was around, you can see the little bit of water flowing also. I mean, it's like the wall, everything is still wet. 15 feet it was going on. Then I started searching help from the public. I could have went this road. I have begged for 150 to 200 vehicles of all cars, auto rickshaws, two-wheelers, asking them who knows swimming. They were like, some people were denying. We want to, sir, it's a heavy rain, we don't want to take a risk in our life. Then later by 4:10 or 4:15, I think so, Shavani, I got a rescue team. QRT team was on the way to a metro station on their job. Actually, I made them to stop there, and I said them, sir, the family of 6 ladies were being stuck in the under underpass, and car is still drawing. It's heavy rain is coming, flooding there. They're shouting for the help them. Immediately, within a fraction of a second, those QRT guys, thanks to them, right now also I'm saying from the News 18, because the immediately fraction of a second, they started running from this way, and they were running towards the ladies. After that, they started swimming from, you can see the guys who are standing there, from there to there, maximum it's 100 meters. They started swimming for 100 meters per along. After that, they were asking for the rope. But later, when we went to the upside of this particular bridge, later we asked for the public, we need a rope or else not, or else something. But I tried to give like this kind of even a wire also, but wire was not reaching to them. Later, we recently the CM and DCM, they took an oath. We tried to pulling out their banners, the sticks, everything. After that, one lady came and she opened a sari in the road itself, and she threw the sari to save them. But the sari was not able to reach the ladies who were stuck inside the car, and flowing the thing, water flooded. So after that, we tried to pull them out by localites, but could not. Then later, after seeing this, immediately I called many of the police officials, including our right now he's an IGP Praveen Sood also, and I have informed to the fire. I called 112 emergency landline number. I called even fire people. They came, just it's 2 kilometers away. They came 8 to 10 minutes late. Before that, they could have been reached the spot within 2 to 3 minutes. I think one of the lady who has lost her life, she should
yes,
have been
in fact,
saved it by them.
Speaking
Later,
of that young 22-year-old techie, Manjunath, what we've also been informed is that actually she was rescued alive and was taken to a hospital, but was declared dead there. So was there some delay in everything that transpired? Was there a delay at the hospital as well?
Shivani, actually, when we got information, the driver was saying due to panic, they were screaming out. Later, a car was fully, means like an automatic car, and it was fully sensorized. Once the water went inside the car was fully locked, and they could not open their windows because the engine was not working, and the engine was completely switched off. Later, the girl who was sitting behind last seat, means it's a Xylo vehicle, like Innova kind of a vehicle, they have to bend the seat and they have to go back. But this girl, everywhere out of the car while breaking the glass, this girl was behind the last seat because she was 22-year-old. She was sitting at the last. But driver called her to come out, but she could not able to move because her leg was stuck in the backside seat. Then when she was inside the car itself, the water was flooded heavily inside, and she was not able to come out. By the time when she was rescued and she was taken to the hospital, people were saying she was breathing, but she could not able to hear any problem. She was not responding. By the time when she was shifted to Martha's hospital, the doctors were denied to take her inside. But the doctors, when we asked the doctors what will happen, so what has happened when she came, she said that the pulse rate was nothing and she was not able to breathe like that. Doctor was saying. But when we reached the spot and we asked the particular auto driver, and the auto driver was also saying, sir, she was breathing. We kept begging them to the doctor, saying that take her inside. But the hospital they denied because it's a police case and MLC until unless police.
This is just absolutely shocking, Manjunath. As shocking is the fact that this small underpass got flooded to the extent in one day's rain where people got stuck and died. Is equally shocking the fact that the hospital did not show any urgency in saving this young woman's life. I will, of course, ask the government representatives what they plan to do about this callous behavior. But I do want to ask you, while Bengaluru is becoming notorious for flooding, even if it's unseasonal rains, right now the rainy season hasn't even kicked in, I do want to understand, what's the particular status of this underpass? Is it notorious for flooding every time? And has there been anything done in the past few years to correct this situation? Manjunath, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you, Shivani.
Yes, I just wanted to ask very quickly, what is the situation of this particular underpass?
Shivani?
Does it get flooded every year, every time there are rains? Has there been any measures to correct this situation?
Definitely, Shivani, I can just say you this underpass, every time it trains, most of the two-wheelers, they just use it, and because of one signal, they used to escape from that signal, they use this underpass, most of the motorist vehicles and four-wheeler car people. But most of the times when the police also say them when the rains, please don't use this underpass, they knows that because I'll go near to the, if possible, I'm just walking near that underpass, I'll show you. Yesterday it was 30 meters of rain, and there was a small pipe where the water cannot go as soon as when the rain comes together, because one side I'm showing the flowing water comes from the other part of the road, and another one you can see the upside where the water will come from that side also. So both the side there is no proper drainage system where the water can flow narrowly outside of this underpass. Right now I'm into that underpass only. I can show you where exactly the car was parked and where the car was switched off. I mean, it's like suddenly it got engine off. So this is the underpass. I can show you where the car, there is only small kind of place where water can flow outside, but they could not able to see. This is the spot, Shivani, exactly yesterday was happened. It was just, see, right now it's just 10 feet away. So the water cannot go outside from this part, and police have many times have been intimated to the BBMP officials saying that please close the underpass when it rains. But police also sometimes it rains, the two-wheeler and four-wheeler people, they remove the barricade and they use this underpass because of to escape a small narrow of a signal of 60 seconds. But why the people of Bengaluru motorists and four-wheeler people, they use this underpass to go very soon to residents, I don't know. Because police also now they are saying like that only, sir, we have put the barricade. But even putting that barricade also, they get down from their car and bikes, they put it aside and they use this bridge for even it rains heavily also. But
okay, but were there barricades yesterday? Manjunath, were there barricades before this underpass yesterday when this accident took place?
Near Cantonment railway station, there is one more underpass and hello?
Yes, Manjunath, was there a barricade yesterday? Looks like I've lost that line, but we'll leave it at that. Manjunath, I do thank you for joining us and bringing us all of those updates. It's one apathy after another. One flooded underpass that clearly gets flooded every time. And then there are, of course, reports of the hospital denying quick admission to the young girl as well. Let's take this to our guests joining us. I'm joined by Anand Gurumurthy of the BJP, Dhruv Jatti of the Congress Party, Brinda Dighe, social activist based in the state. Also, Saurabh Kumar, civic activist. He's co-founder of Pothole Raja. Let me go across to the Congress representative first. Dhruv, I think it's just a reminder that it's much, much harder to be in governance. I know that you will say that your government has just been sworn in and you can't be held guilty for what has happened. But, governance is much, much harder than criticizing, all of the apathy that when you're in opposition. What does your government plan to do about this?
I mean, it's not about just saying it, but it's a fact that we've just, taken the helm of governments very recently. It's just been less than a week. So on this entire issue, if you or anybody else were there in Bangalore, you would know that while the weather was so pleasant and calm, out of nowhere it turned into something like a dramatic Hollywood movie. What you see on air, and trees shaking, hailstorm, ice. It was pretty bad. It was a very, very unprecedented situation as to what we saw yesterday. Now, I don't want to indulge in political rhetoric simply because I believe that this is an issue of what I would say urban planning and policy implications on the whole. And speaking about it from a policy perspective, the question, arises irrespective of political parties as to for how long we are going to be looking at short-term fixes over long-term solutions. And that's something that we have to keep in mind, because I'll tell you something as well, because see, if you look at Bangalore's situation for the past 1 year at least, something that the city relies on a lot is a strong municipality, because you cannot, let alone legislators who have to sit in Vidhan Sauda to come and address issues such as drainages, such as clogging of roads, etc. That is to be dealt with the corporation and with the corporators. And you should look at the track record yourself, and you will realize that for very clear political reasons, the BBMP elections were delayed, and that delay has resulted in what I would say.
Okay, let me just quickly give Anand Gurumurthy an opportunity to respond to that. This is basically the legacy left after 3.5 years of your government.
First of all, our condolences to the family which has lost a person. Okay, and no matter how much we say, legacy and other things, we have to understand there are two reforms which are pending, okay, from a very long time. And this needs political consensus. Whenever we try to do it, political consensus doesn't happen. Number one is there are very good engineers within BBMP and KPWD. Some of them are even IITians. Some of them are from IIT Kharagpur. What are they doing? You are investigative journalists. Go and see what these IITians and IIT Kharagpur NIT Kharagpur people are, doing within BBMP. You will see that they are just writing files. They are not in executive posts. This is the apathy from the last 11 years. You have to go and do this investigative journalism, all in News 18 or anybody. Okay, please do this. What are the IITians? What are
but why couldn't you fix it?
Engineers doing in BBMP? Okay, they must be brought in front and put into executive positions, because this is not a very big thing to deal with. There are cities which get more rainfall. There are cities which get worse environmental effects, but they're around the world. They're handled in a very good way. The problem here is there is a political consensus needed to bring in engineers of those caliber into very good executive positions.
And what's
BBMP,
the second reform?
It's growing at a very fast pace.
Anandji, please. Second reform. What is the other thing?
The second thing, very important thing is, it is being led by an IAS officer, which I have totally opposed. It should be led by an engineer. The chief engineer still reports to the IAS officer, which brings in a lot of clash within the framework. An engineer should lead the BBMP. An engineer should lead an engineering division.
Fair enough, but why is this wisdom being circulated now? Why is this wisdom being circulated now? You were in power for 3.5 years.
That is what I'm trying to tell you. Whenever that reform had to be done, right, it has to pass through a legislation, Madam Shivani Gupta. It has to pass through a legislation. There needs to be a political consensus on this, because the reason is, even you see, even during the corona time, we have talked about this. These medical departments have to be led by doctors, district surgeons, and other state
Are you saying that the Congress didn't allow for these reforms?
No, wait a minute. These are the people who must lead. Any medical related thing has to be led by doctors. Any engineering thing has to be led by engineers, not by administrative.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give Dhruv Jati an opportunity to respond to that. One second. Let me go across to a couple of other panelists on our show. Brinda DK, what also really shocked me was that actually this girl was rescued alive. She may have been in a precarious situation medically, but as my correspondent was also mentioning, Manjunath, the hospital dilly-dallied in admitting her. Now, I don't understand how people can have that level of apathy.
I continue to say that we should not use the word apathy. We must use the word criminal negligence, impunity. Because if that hospital doctors refused, the impunity is that they are not going to be penalized. They are never going to be punished. There is no accountability. So the other panelists said that, we must have an engineer, we must have a doctor to handle the specific areas. At the end of the day, where is your accountability? Your job doesn't go. Your salary continues to be there. Your perks are there. Your promotion continues. So where are you pulled up? It is not that it got flooded only yesterday. It was flooded last year also. What did the government do? What did the BBMP chief do? Can he not ask for an expert to rectify it and change its course and do the needful repairs? What stops that person from signing such an order? Nothing stops. He doesn't have to be an engineer to sign an order to rectify that. He understands as a common man, common sense, that that is not okay and it has to be repaired. You cannot tell that why did the public go there? Why do they want to skip off a signal light? No, you use my money to do a shoddy job and now you need to rectify that. And you want to wait that the citizens must sacrifice our lives, pay our taxes and keep mum?
No, this brings me to the other aspect I wanted to highlight. The government of the day, which is now the Congress, has just pawned this off to the driver. In fact, the driver has had an FIR against him.
I think we need to file an FIR against every person who built that. Every person, including the BBMP chief.
Clearly without
Hold on, I didn't disturb you. File an FIR on all of them. Why are we not filing an FIR for a shoddy job that is done and no repairs done? How dare you use our money, make something like that is a shoddy job, and then you say we put barricades so the public must not go there. Give the money that you have spent. You have taken our money. How can you file an FIR on the driver? Okay, maybe you must because he went on to that thing. But why is an FIR not being filed on all the people?
So there are some BBMP officials on which an FIR has also been lodged. But you are right. I want to take that to Saurabh also. What we ultimately see is that some lowly officers will have either suspensions or action against them. But it was really the top brass that should pay for this. Unless that happens, nothing will change. Saurabh.
See, if you look into the infrastructure, whether it is Bangalore or Bombay, I think, our large cities have not been designed to carry it, the rainwater of this capacity. Whenever there is a, shower for at least continuously for an hour or two, this becomes a news every now and then, which shouldn't happen if you ask me honestly. And a lot of these underpasses that we see, I have also seen personally, it gets flooded within no time. That completely needs an overhaul. I think, as per our understanding, the time at which they were constructed, they were solving the problem at that point of time, but no longer it is solving the problem at the current situation. And if I think some of the panelists have already mentioned that if the intent is there, the action has to be taken in a very fast track manner, because this is not something that can go on for years together. There are enough methods, there are enough techniques, technology that completely change, and the reconstruction of the entire thing can happen in a very fast manner.
Okay. On that note,
how efficiently are we doing that? And are we really intending to do that on before the monsoon arrives?
Exactly. That was going to be my next question to Dhruv. Now, the monsoons are going to, of course, make an onset. It is going to be a challenge for your government, after all the criticism you've done for 3.5 years, to deliver. What's the plan?
No, surely. See, I agree with what you're trying to say. Quickly, just to respond to a couple of points that were made earlier, the FIR was made by the family, not by the Congress, and that was against the driver simply because that these tourists who had come were not from Bangalore, they were from outside Bangalore.
But I believe a government representative has also said that the driver shouldn't have gone there.
He went to cross the barricade and go through the magic box for a quick short road. And I agree with what with Miss Brinda is saying in terms of the whole thing being a policy matter. It is surely a huge policy matter, and we should be looking at it, in a more
Okay, please come to my question. Aren't you on test before the next monsoons? Because this is an yearly phenomenon in Bengaluru.
Yeah, so coming to that, see, you have to look at the Sarva Janagata Shanti Kota. You'll have it at the page number 500 and you'll have it at page number 58. We've put across 5 important points that specifically tackle this issue of what I would say congestion, transport and mobility. And keeping that in mind, the party is working towards preparing themselves for the monsoon rains. And it is going to be a difficult period, no doubt, because we've seen how Bangalore has suffered tremendously. But let's not forget that we did not have a BBMP for the past 2.5 years. And that is a real question that we should be asking. Because
speaking of your promises, I want to just quickly take a response from you. Dhruv, I want to quickly take a response from you on the promises that the Congress government has come to power on the back of, especially those 5 guarantees. Now, a lot of riders are coming in on those guarantees, and I mentioned them at the start of the show. What explains this? That you, during electioneering, announce as if it's for everyone, or certainly more number of people who will eventually benefit when you implement it. Is that not, is that not fooling the public? It's outright dhoka.
Not at all, Shivani. I mean, see, it's a very simple and logical question. You tell me, do you want these benefits to be given to beneficiaries or to people who do not require it?
But why did you announce it like it was for everyone?
And if the Congress Party is looking, at aiming at beneficiaries, that's the right decision that's taken by the party. And I don't think there's any sort of question as to that. And if we are looking at targeted beneficiaries, we're looking at the people who are most in need. It's as simple as that. If there are people who don't require it, who don't want it.
But why didn't you make that explicit when you announce these guarantees? People should know now whether they're going to be a beneficiary or not. For example, the 10 kilograms rice. Your guarantee card makes it to be that every person in a BPL family will get it. Today, it is only one person per family. How is that
Shivani,
okay?
I think we're choking on our words because we haven't even come out with the exact plan of action, and you should be waiting for that. You should know that the
These are
cabinet
your ministers who told News 18 this. I'm not making this up.
Shivani, see, you have to be a bit more patient. It's been just a week. I understand it's very, interesting to criticize the Congress government and its 5 guarantees, but you have to be a bit more patient.
No, why should I be patient? Your government said it will be done the moment you are in power. Why should I be patient? You are the one who raised expectations.
Shivani, I'm sure.
No, you are the one who raised these expectations, and then you say let everybody be patient. Don't you have sense?
Shivani,
it will go to the beneficiary. You didn't announce it like that.
What happened right after the oath-taking ceremony? Right after the oath-taking ceremony, you had the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister sit in Vidhan Sauda and approve these guarantees that the Congress
So why should I not ask questions on that? You've approved them. I want to know what the contours are.
Please ask questions. Please ask questions. There's no problem with asking questions, but patience and also remembering that beneficiaries who these schemes
I have no problem with that, but it wasn't quite announced like only targeted economic beneficiaries will get these. It was almost announced that it was for a wider public reach. But anyways, let Mr. Anand come in here.
See, the Congress benefits from the last 60 years when they have ruled. It's always for the congressmen, their Congress workers, or some social activists who support them. That's all Congress benefits that's for. It's not for the people of India who really need it. Congress has always been like this, and they have always done this. They have always cheated people. People will know it in a few days.
A quick response, Shivani, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
If that was the case, then the people of Karnataka would have not given you 65 seats. We have double the number of seats of yours. That's simply because they had the trust in the Congress government prior to what came and stole and purchased MLAs. And that's the reason we have been brought into power. And if not for anything, you will see yourself as to how these guarantees are fulfilled.
Yes, we will be watching and you will be also watching. So please watch it, okay?
Okay. Sure. And let me bring in my other panelist also in this. Brinda Dige, if this is not enough, that the fact that now we are hearing of new riders, for example, for women, free travel in state buses as well. There's a rider on that too, by the way. But there's a school teacher who criticized this model of politics. He has named not just current Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, but his previous stint and other chief ministers as well. That teacher gets suspended. I'm appalled. We need teachers who bring this level of thought in school students. This is exactly what young children should be talking about in their classrooms. And what is the precedent being set? That school teacher gets suspended for voicing that opinion on his private Facebook post?
Right. Absolutely. How is it that the Congress decides that you will suspend somebody for a comment and an opinion and a view? Is that not one of our fundamental rights?
Precisely.
You get upset that there was a comment made and you suspend that person, and that person now has to say all kinds of things. But that apart, were you not voted into power because you promised to uphold constitutional principles and values? At this rate, you say you're going with the same previous government, that there will be no telecast of all your discussions and stuff like that. What is it that you're different? How is it that we should continue our trust in you? Because you're continuing the same
don't bring
things.
in. Brinda, you're talking all lies, okay? Which government has banned you from talking?
Lies?
No government, no
lies?
previous government has done anything like that, Brinda. Don't come in with, false allegations on any government. Talk about
there
the
are
issue
no
right
false
now.
allegations.
You're
against the
just
former
bringing in
government.
something which is
Hold
totally
on.
false,
You
Brinda.
said free buses for women. Okay, one. Now you want to say only the daily commuters. So those who don't go every day do not have that benefit. One. Two, you have suspended that teacher because of a comment the teacher made. Now you can say that that is a disciplinary action taken by the department. But are you also saying that nobody can, if you are in a government service, you cannot give your opinion and you cannot comment about the government at all? Is that what
was
you're trying
actually
to say?
the BJP representative opposing to you, I think, something you said about previous governments. But let's leave that aside. That question you're asking is actually to the current Congress government. Let me quickly
I'm asking the current government. Why the suspension?
Absolutely. Saurabh, let me give you an opportunity as well. Yeah, Dhruv, one second. What I don't understand is that what kind of citizens do you want? People who don't talk about the fact that freebies are being promised during elections. That's not possible. People should be talking about it. At one level, politicians are like, oh, we want a very informed electorate and we want an educated electorate. The moment somebody voices their opinion, they lose their job. This is hypocrisy of the worst kind. This is precisely the issue that young students should be debating in classrooms.
True. Very true.
I think, the current generation, if you look into the current generation specifically, people are quite woke, right? In fact, if you ask them not to do something, they will actually do, specifically that. And with the kind of information that is available for us all across, I'm actually surprised. As you rightly said, last 1 week, the discussion that is happening even in my circle is about all the election manifesto related things, that they will be provided and all those things will be provided. I'm actually not surprised that suddenly it's come out that it will be selected about, for this section and that section, because at large, that's what happens post-election. So I think I'm taking that with no surprise at all. I'll be really happy if all those things are fulfilled, because people will largely benefit from that.
Well, we didn't really know how it will be fulfilled because the cost to the exchequer would be too high. Besides, there are precedents where governments or parties have promised it before elections, and in many of those states, at least 2 examples I can give, those guarantees haven't been fulfilled. So this is becoming a vicious cycle, frankly, but we'll debate quote-unquote freebie politics another day. I thank our guests for joining us. I have to move on. The third G20 Tourism Working Group meeting kick-started in Srinagar today. The event will go on till May 24. Film Tourism for Economic and Cultural Preservation was the first meeting of the G20 Work Group today. MOS Jitendra Singh said this is a time of revival and moment of rejuvenation. G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant also mentioned how 370 movies have been permitted to shoot in Kashmir, the finest destination for films and romance in the world. Actor Ram Charan also attended the event and even danced to the tunes of Natu Natu, song from his RRR movie. Listen.
This is a crucial meeting of the working group, and Indian government is trying to emphasize that it's all good in Jammu and Kashmir, even though Pakistan has repeatedly tried to raise the bogey of instability and this being a disputed territory. Pakistan's all-weather ally, China, has once again raised objection, saying that this is a disputed territory, so therefore they will not participate in this working group meeting. But as far as the motive of bringing in tourists are concerned, you can see the Dal Jheel is packed with tourists, mostly domestic tourists. The G20 is also a major push that Indian government and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture is giving to ensure that other than the domestic tourist circuit, Kashmir also once again becomes a part of the foreign tourist circuit. There are some issues about various governments issuing advisories to their citizens about coming to Kashmir. They're discouraged from coming to Kashmir, and that is something that the industry here is hoping will be reversed. As a Jammu Kashmir resident, the first thoughts.
To add to what has been said over the last few days, that this is also an occasion for us to showcase the enormous change that has happened, the transformation that has happened in Jammu and Kashmir under Prime Minister Modi. I think this is also going to send out a message loud and clear, far and wide, that the common man in Kashmir wants to move on. The common man walking in these streets, lanes of Srinagar, has seen 2 generations of Kashmiris getting sacrificed at the altar of Pak-sponsored terrorism. There is no more to miss the bus. The youth of Kashmir is highly aspirational. Sometimes I tend to think that he's more aspirational than his counterparts in many other parts of the country. He's seeing the enormous avenues of livelihood, startups going up to number 3 in the world. All this happening in India under Prime Minister Modi. And he wants to be a part of that journey.
How do you see opportunities in Kashmir? I'll ask you a precise question, because Saudi is also slowly moving from oil economy to tourism economy. And how do you see that in context of Kashmir?
I think the Saudi market is one that's hungry and eager to travel and explore the world. And I think because of the good relations between Saudi Arabia and India that are already in place, it's only a matter of time before more and more people from Saudi Arabia do get to experience Kashmir and all its beauty and all that it has to offer. And it's part of our job to go back and expedite that process.
Do you think this can be somewhere where people of Saudi can come and explore and live here, because it's a completely different landscape from what Saudi has to offer?
I'm not sure if living here is something that people in Saudi Arabia would be keen on doing just yet. But then again, I wouldn't know. It's up to everyone's personal choice. But I definitely think that it's a place that they would like to visit, because this is something that Saudi has a market for. There are more than enough people who are interested in the type of tourism that Kashmir offers. So I think there's definitely potential to capitalize on.
I also want to go across to my colleague Arunima, joining us live from Srinagar as well. Arunima, give us a sense of how India has handled the starting of this G20 working group, and also the message that India has sent, especially because of the criticism coming in from Pakistan, which was expected, but also from China in this case.
Yes, Pakistan and China were expected to make a hue and cry since this meeting is happening in Srinagar. Pakistan has always questioned the status of Jammu and Kashmir. India calls it an integral part of our country. China, this time around, when they have objected to the G20 working group happening in Srinagar, have said that this is a disputed territory. They have not sent a representative. Same with Turkey. We are told that other countries have also downgraded. For example, Saudi Arabia representatives are also the original delegates, we are told, who were supposed to turn up. Saudi Arabia did a rethink on that. Similarly, Egypt, Oman, UAE, their representatives are not here as yet. UAE, perhaps by tomorrow we will see them arrive, but Oman and Egypt definitely have not turned up. So Pakistan has tried to prevail over the Organization of Islamic Countries to try and dissuade them from coming to Srinagar. But is that making really a difference? I don't think so. One thing that Pakistan tried to do via its proxies like the TRF is ask for a bandh. I'm coming to you live from the Polo View market of Srinagar. You see the market, people, locals moving around. This is a new market that has been made vehicle free. It's a pedestrian market. The delegates will be brought here. The G20 delegates will be brought here just to give them this feel of the Polo View, of what a Kashmiri market looks like, what is on offer, from carpets to handicrafts, to any other thing which is originally of Kashmir, which is originally a Kashmir product. Also music, I can hear music blaring out from the other end. So an experience, of a evening spent at Polo View is something that administration here in Srinagar is hoping that the G20 delegates will take back home and tell their countrymen that there is nothing untoward that is happening in Srinagar. Government definitely is hoping that those advisories discouraging people from English-speaking countries to come to Kashmir, that will be withdrawn.
All right, Arunima, appreciate you joining us with that live report. We'll, of course, keep tracking as this working group meeting continues in Srinagar for the very first time in India's history. Time for a very short break. On the other side, we have an exclusive conversation lined up for you with Abhilash Tomi, the Indian retired Navy commander, the man who defied limits of human endurance. Why? We'll tell you after a short break.
The third summit got delayed. But today it's happening in Papua New Guinea, and perhaps, the kind of statement that the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea has made, calling Prime Minister Narendra Modi as a leader of Global South. And in fact, all these Pacific islands have agreed to rally behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi. At the same time, even Prime Minister Modi also spoke on the lines of Global South, that how India is ready to raise concerns, to raise problems of Global South on international multilateral forums like G7 and G20. And perhaps yesterday, in fact, when Prime Minister was in Japan attending G7 summit, with whomever he met in bilateral engagement, or perhaps at the time of speaking to the leaders from the other nations and even the other dignitaries, each time around, Prime Minister did mention about the problems that the countries from Global South are facing. So there is no doubt, in fact, after this visit, there is no doubt that the positioning that India is doing as a leader of Global South is now getting endorsed by other countries also, and especially from the Pacific Islands.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed in Papua New Guinea on Sunday after his Japan visit for the G7 summit. Now, Prime Minister Modi received a special welcome at Papua New Guinea when he arrived to host the third summit of the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation. As a gesture of respect, Papua New Guinea Prime Minister James Marape touched Prime Minister Modi's feet when he landed in the country. Now remember, this is the first visit to Papua New Guinea by any Indian Prime Minister. The Prime Minister also got a rousing welcome from the Indian diaspora. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will hold talks with the Papua New Guinea Prime Minister James Marape and Governor General Sir Bob Dade. CNN News 18 Siddhant Mishra spoke to High Commissioner of Papua New Guinea, Polias Korne, about James Marape touching PM Modi's feet as a mark of respect. Listen in.
We saw that how Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea gave a very emotional reception to Prime Minister Modi by touching his feet as a remark of respect for Prime Minister Modi. How would you like to react to it? Because in India, it has been received very well, and it also talks about the confidence that nations like Papua New Guinea and in fact the other Pacific nations are showing on Prime Minister Modi's leadership.
Yes, it is our tradition to show emotion to our very best friends, and tears automatically rolls down our eyes. And this is the expression that Prime Minister expressed tonight as Prime Minister set foot on PNG soil. And we are very happy. And it is tears of joy that has moved India, and we are so proud that these tears will move our countries forward.
Ambassador, before 2014, the Pacific Islands were not on the radar of Indian foreign policy makers. After Prime Minister Modi coming to power, the engagements have increased.
Of course, India can play a greater role for the Pacific because Pacific occupies one-third of the world's ocean and land mass. So the people and the islands are small, but India can make an impact. And Prime Minister Modi's trip to the Pacific signals that step in that direction, and we are really joyful that India's look east and act east policy will take footage in the Pacific after the Big 3 forum, which starts in Port Moresby tomorrow. And tonight there are 14 Pacific Island countries, head of states here.
बहुत खुश हैं मोदी जी यहाँ पे आए और हम चाह रहे हैं कि पापुआ न्यू गिनी और इंडिया का जो है रिलेशनशिप और बढ़िया हो और इकोनॉमिक फ्रंट में, डिजिटलाइजेशन के फ्रंट में इट इज अ ग्रेट अचीवमेंट फॉर अस दैट ही हैज कम. वी आर ऑनर्ड, प्रिविलेज एंड थैंक यू मोदी जी. मजा आ गया यहाँ.
We would like to welcome Modi ji to PNG. We love you and we hope that PNG will develop like India. Thank you.
He's a selfless leader. He is a global leader. And his coming to Papua New Guinea is very important for Papua New Guinea also.
We are blessed.
Because
Now, retired Navy Commander Abhilash Tomi is the feat of India after completing the Golden Globe race, finishing second to create a new record for India and, in fact, all of Asia. Abhilash Tomi landed back in India after this heroic feast last week and was felicitated by the Indian Navy. He has circumnavigated the earth on a small boat called Bayanat in the Golden Globe race without the use of any modern equipment. His journey took a staggering 236 days, during which the veteran Navy officer travelled over 55,000 kilometers despite his boat getting damaged, and that too all alone. In 2018, Tomi participated in the 50th edition of the same race but had met with an accident in the middle of it. He suffered spinal injuries, post which he needed a titanium rod to be inserted in his spine. This time, he not only completed the race but also finished second and is now being hailed as the Titanium Man of India. Now, here is why the Golden Globe race is special. It is a single-handed and non-stop circumnavigation race. The participants go around the world, that's 30,000 miles, or as I mentioned, 55,000 kilometers. They can't take any help from any fellow participant or, in fact, anyone else during this course. The participants also cannot use any technology that did not exist in 1968 when this started, which means it rules out use of mobile phones, GPS, or any other modern navigation devices. Abhilash Tomi's wife, Urmi Mala, also posted a very emotional tweet upon his return. She said, and I quote, "Lost the habit of texting Abhilash every day, every moment. Calls to check in, texts to remind him to pick something up. Little affirmations, conversations. Left it to the universe to keep us connected somehow. Now I'm finding it tough to start all over again." Unquote. And the man of the moment, retired Commander Abhilash Tomi, is joining us. Abhilash, thanks a lot for your time and many, many congratulations for what you've managed to achieve. You've been on such an inspiring journey. So I want to understand, spending so much time alone, that too on water, away from any other person, what did you learn about yourself as you did this global race?
Well, I believe that you need to step away from the world to learn more about the world. And, being away from the world gave me an opportunity to understand myself. And it was, let's say, a voyage of deconstruction. So I kind of understood the idea behind morality and guilt and, things like that, how humans suffer from a problem of mass hallucination.
Okay.
How we make things real just because of the fact that so many people believe in it, and things like that. And one good thing was that I was living a life without making an opinion about somebody else and without wondering what the other person is thinking about me.
Right.
And in this sense, it was a very, very, very freeing experience.
You attempted this earlier as well and you suffered injuries. You have a titanium piece in your spine. So, these are not normal situations under which you undertake one of the toughest physical and mental exercise in the world to do anywhere. And I think across even any sport. What was that moment like and why was it that you decided to do this again?
Well, I didn't need any inspiration. I love going to sea. And in fact, when I had the accident and I was waiting for rescue, I had 3.5 days of doing nothing. There was no stress of sailing. It was just a matter of time before somebody came and picked me up. And I had a lot of time to kill. And that's when I started planning my next race. And I was, figuring out who would be my team manager, who will prepare my boat, what sort of a sponsor I need to get. So I think it was just a natural extension. And once I had the rods in the spine, one good thing was that I realized I cannot have a slip disc anymore. So that was one good thing. It was kind of a spine upgrade. And B, yes, there was a little bit of problem with flexibility, but you learn to work around it. What I say is that if you flap your hands, you will not fly. But you work around that, and you build an aircraft, and you can sit in the cockpit and fly. So yeah, that's how it was for me.
I want to understand from you, what is it that you want to share? I'm sure you're tired of everyone asking this question about this part and that part, about the mental and physical experience. So what is it that you want to tell the public or anyone about this trip?
Well, okay, so that's what, I've had so many experiences and I really want to share a lot about it. But the problem is they were so different that I don't have words to describe what happened to me. And to quote Gabriel Marquez, the famous writer, in his Nobel acceptance speech, he said, my crucial problem is a lack of conventional means to render my life believable.
Right.
And that is the crux of my solitude. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel alone because I don't have words to share my experiences.
Maybe not many could understand them as well, because you're one of those very few individuals who's done this around the world. But is a book coming then on your experiences? Maybe that's the way you can express yourself.
Of course, eventually there will be a book. Not right now, but maybe within a year there should be a book coming out.
We'll look forward to that. Let me probe you a little bit more though. What was the toughest moment physically for you as far as this race is concerned?
I think a series of events started on 26th of January with a storm, and I ended up steering the boat for about 12 hours because the steering lines of the self-steering slipped out, and I was left holding the tiller. And steering this boat in a storm is quite tough. And I ended up with a lot of crash types, a lot of damage to the boat. Plus, my back packed up. And my right leg stopped functioning, and I was literally dragging my right leg around the boat for the next 3 to 4 days, and I had to seek medical help. And with the permission of the race organizers, I spoke to my physiotherapist, Dr. Russell in Goa, and he gave me a series of exercises. And there was an immediate relief, but there were many points, there were many points in the race where I had to climb the mast, and my back was totally jammed. And well, I just kept at it, but. Later on, at 7th of February, I had another storm where my boat turned upside down a couple of times. And that led to my self-steering breaking. There was, my last spare had broken. And I found myself close to Chile. The wind was pushing me onto land. Night was falling. There were no lighthouses. And my self-steering was not working. And I really, really had to innovate and, to stay safe and get out of that situation. I think these would be some of the toughest moments.
So I want to understand, are these physically tough moments also the mentally the toughest moments, or are those moments different?
No, they were very interesting, because otherwise it was becoming quite boring. Just sailing and you don't know where your competitors are. But whenever I had a problem, that used to kind of wake me up, and my focus used to be quite sharp, and I enjoyed solving all these problems.
Right. But what is it like when you do feel down? What are those tough moments mentally like? Do you feel like giving up? Do you feel like jumping into the water and ending it all? How do those moments go?
Well, yes, I won't say there are no mental lows, and the mental lows don't happen in storms, but when there is no wind. And it's very, very frustrating, because the kind of thoughts that come to your mind is, your competitor is getting good winds and he or she is like really sailing away. And it can get quite frustrating. And when you get a whiff of wind, you're like quite happy. And you're praying that this whiff of wind lasts.
Okay. Finally, can I ask you, Abhilash, what is it? You must have learned this about yourself now. What is it about you that makes you go through this? There must be some sort of self-realization why you have done this and attempted this repeatedly. What is it that you're seeking?
Well, there are many reasons to it. Why I started this is because something that happened as a kid. And I was inspired to sail, and that's why I joined the Navy. But later on, I realized how difficult it was. You have nausea, it's very hot, you want to vomit all the while, you suffer from constipation, you don't want to eat. And you're trying to sleep and your bunk is wet and there's water dripping into your eyes. And it's ridiculously tough. just existing in a boat. I'm not even saying being skipper or being sailing around the world. It's tough. But fact is, let me put it this way. There's a wall, and one day, just by persisting doing this, I was jumping and I saw what's on the other side of the wall. And then, you fall back. And then now you're like, you want to jump higher and higher so that you want to see what's on the other side of the wall. And one day you sit on top of the wall and you can see this huge ocean of freedom. And once you cross that wall, you don't want to come back. So that crucial experience that I'm looking for is freedom. And I experienced that in a very confined space of a 10-meter boat. You have the freedom to think, you have the freedom to be what you want to be, you have the freedom to eat, clothe the way you want to clothe. You are a completely free human being. Since you're not interacting with others, nobody can accuse you of committing sins, right? So you become sin-free, and it's a very different experience.
I'm sure it is. Thanks a lot for sharing those thoughts. We look forward to your book, which will be, I'm sure, a subliminal experience just going through your experiences. Abhilash Tobid, many congratulations and thanks a lot for joining us. On that note, I take your leave. News Epicenter is lined up next.
Good evening, hello and welcome to News Epicenter. I'm Anusha Soni. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge fired a fresh salvo at the BJP for not inviting President Draupadi Murmu for the inauguration of the new Parliament building. While the political taunt did not stop there, the Congress President also invoked the caste or the Dalit identity of the President. The Congress argued that BJP practices the politics, and I'm quoting, of tokenism, and there is no real respect for any underprivileged community. Well, ever since the announcement of this high-profile project to this present-day criticism, the Congress party has clearly shifted paradigms in its own criticism. From being called a personal vanity project to the timing of the project or the disproportionate exchequer expenditure, and the present-day criticism as to who inaugurates the Parliament building. All these controversies make a long list in the sort of attacks that we have seen coming in from the opposition quarter, especially the Congress party. It is well documented and politically substantiated that the Congress party and its top leadership earlier in the past have supported the need for a new Parliament building. Various letters were written during the UPA tenure to have a new building in the wake of number of MPs, which are likely to increase in the future. Despite the political gimmickry, at the end of the day, it's a national heritage. It's going to be the new Parliament building. Should this crucial infrastructure, which is going to be part of nation's identity, heritage and symbol of democracy, become a political punching bag? We talk on all these aspects tonight. That's our focus on Epicenter.
प्रधानमंत्री खुद करते हैं, ये राष्ट्रपति करना चाहिए। अरे जिस जगह महत्व देना है, उनकी गरिमा बढ़ाना है, उस जगह तुम उनको देते नहीं।
Well, let me take the question to our guest and our special panel joining us tonight. We have Mr. Guru Prakash Paswan, who's the national spokesperson for the BJP, Advocate Mahima Singh from the Congress Party, Riju Datta, who's the spokesperson of TMC, and Professor Sangeet Ragi, who's a thinker and an author. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Paswan, coming to you first, because I quoted in the beginning what Mallikarjun Kharge said. And I think the new point in this entire attack coming in from the Congress party is that you don't really give real respect to the leaders coming from underprivileged communities in this country. Respond to that, sir.
Anusha, a very warm good evening to you and all my fellow panelists. And I really find the observation of Mr. Kharge laughable. Now, look at it historically. It was the Congress party that insulted Baba Saheb Ambedkar. It was the Congress party that insulted its own Babu